Look, here's the deal.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by who you know the thing.
I mean, we got to reassure. Look, my poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Am I supposed to speak now, or is Karen supposed to speak? I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble here. Well,
we have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what.
I'm very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental as well as my mental fitness.
I took on Putin in terms of Iraq. In terms of a $15 million, $15,000, $15 minimum wage
out of $1.6 trillion worth. $1.4 trillion worth. Out of $1.4 billion. And by the way, it's cost a lot of money. It cost about $740 billion over 10 years.
Excuse me. Make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. We choose truth over facts.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. The aim of today's video is not to critique for the sake of criticism, but as a concerned citizen, a patriot who loves this country deeply and is feared for its future under the Biden administration. I want to share with you my observations and my worries about the trajectory we've been on under President Biden's leadership. So let's perform an autopsy on the Biden administration, because without opening this cadaver up and finding out what went wrong, we have no way to course correct.
Thank you. Welcome to Washington.
Let's start with our economy, which has been at the heart of my concerns. Inflation has been rampant since Biden took office. I've watched as the cost of living has escalated to levels where many families are struggling to keep up. The American Rescue Plan, while possibly well-intentioned, flooded the market with an excess of money, leading to demand that our supply chain simply couldn't meet. And as we know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I recall buying groceries and seeing prices jump week after week, sometimes even day by day. Remember when we thought $1 could buy something? Now you have to take out a small loan just to get through the checkout line. And the energy policy? Canceling the Keystone XL pipeline was, in my eyes, a grave error. We've seen our gas prices soar, and our reliance on foreign oil has increased, making us less energy independent than we should be in this economically volatile world. At this rate, we'll all be biking to work soon, not because we want to save the environment, but because we can't afford the gas. Maybe that's the plan. And of course, all this was happening while the mainstream media was gaslighting us by first saying it isn't happening, and then saying it is happening, but it's a good thing, secure in the knowledge that Caesar Joe can do no wrong.
Who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Also, disaster release has been sort of an ongoing joke. The propaganda clips on social media of the FEMA relief efforts certainly didn't help the Biden administration. Using 15 people to move a small log 30 feet seemed like a perfect illustration of government inefficiency.
Okay. What are the states in the storm zone? What do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone?
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about. They're getting everything they need.
Now, let's turn our gaze to our borders. The policy changes have led to what can only be described as utter chaos. I've seen the numbers, the endless lines at our southern border, the overcrowding in the detention facilities. The decision to stop building the wall and change immigration enforcement has resulted in a surge that our system was woefully unprepared for. And to add insult to injury, Biden then ordered the parts of the wall that had yet to be erected to be sold off for peanuts as scrap. If you think about it, the only wall we've successfully built is the one between our politicians and reality.
I think you hit the head by a camera behind you.
Internationally, our standing has certainly faltered. The withdrawal from Afghanistan was a moment of absolute national embarrassment. I watched in horror as the news showed our hasty retreat, leaving allies behind, equipment in enemy hands, and dead soldiers in its wake. This debacle has signaled to the world that America might not be the steadfast ally or formidable opponent it once was. Additionally, Biden's handling of the Ukraine situation certainly leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not saying the Ukraine doesn't have the right to defend itself. It certainly does. But the Biden administration has consistently failed to explain to the American people why America has to pay for this war, particularly since Ukraine is not a member of NATO. What is the point of having a military alliance if we're also going to defend countries that are not in said alliance? The line should be clear. If you're not in NATO, don't expect us to defend or pay for your war. It's like not having insurance but still expecting the insurance company to pay up. And when it comes to China, I've seen more appeasement than confrontation. We've allowed economic leverage to dictate our foreign policy rather than standing firm on our principles. It's like we're in a global game of chess, but we've forgotten how to move the pieces.
That's the bar I'm doing 9/11.
On the home front, the energy policy has been a double-edged sword. Yes, a transition to clean energy would be nice and all, but the manner in which it's been done has left us vulnerable. I've felt the pinch in my own wallet as utility bills climbed, and I've heard from small businesses struggling with these costs. There's been a disconnect between this green vision and the practical realities of everyday Americans. We're being told to save the planet, but we might need to save our wallets first. People only care about the environment when their bellies are full and their housing is secured. It's just a hard fact of life.
She beat Trump so badly in the debate, he's scared to death to beat her again.
Crime has certainly become another significant issue. I've seen the reports from the cities across the nation where crime rates have surged. The approach to policing, defunding the police, has not led to safer communities. Instead, it's left law enforcement under-resourced and communities feeling unsafe. Everywhere you look in big cities, there are enclaves of drug addicts where the authorities and the police seem to have just given up. And in that context, we had Daniel Penny try to step up and protect his fellow citizens. And how was he thanked? By being charged as a criminal, of course. We need a balanced approach to justice, one that ensures safety while addressing drug-related issues. And connected to this is, of course, the epidemic of shoplifting. Something needs to change. We can no longer sit by and watch small businesses be destroyed by this complete lack of law and order. You can't fight crime with kindness alone. You also need the stick.
5 years ago, you'd lock me up.
Education, another cornerstone of our society, has also been severely mishandled. The student loan forgiveness plan, while aimed at relief, feels like an insult to those who've already paid their dues or worked their way through life without college debt. Can you imagine paying off your debt and then watch the next guy just get it for free? And in our schools, I see a shift towards ideology rather than education. The focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, quite evil in its racist intent, seems to me to have overshadowed the pursuit of academic excellence. It's like we're trying to actively not teach kids how to think, but instead program them with ready-made propaganda. Every aspect of education has been permeated by this insidious mind virus, and it seems you can't even do math without bringing skin color into the equation. No pun intended.
Senator Chris Van Halen. What the hell's his name? He's new.
And let us not forget Biden's cabinet of circus clowns. A kleptomaniac crossdresser in charge of nuclear power. A high-ranking military fetishist uploading pictures of himself in both his military uniform and fetish gear. Senate staffers having sex in the Senate. People on the White House lawn flashing and jiggling their tits. And an obese trans woman in charge of health care because fuck you, that's why. and so on and so forth.
The president said we have he had every week. We have infrastructure week.
The handling of the effects of the COVID-19 crisis has been, to say the least, baffling. I've tried to make sense of the changing guidelines, the mandates that came and went and then came back again, the school closures that disrupted our children's lives. While public health is paramount, the inconsistency in policy has left many, myself included, feeling like we're in some sort of sick social experiment. It's like we were playing musical chairs with different strategies. For comparison, just look at how Sweden handled it. Authorities over there basically just said, we're not telling you what to do, but it would be nice if you could social distance a bit and work from home if you can. Oh, and we got this vaccine too in case you want it. No pressure, no mandates. And because people weren't told what to do, most people followed the recommendations. Basic psychology. And they came out with no worse numbers than other countries. President Biden, on the other hand, presided over some of the worst instances of government overreach in living memory, namely the way the pandemic lockdowns were handled. At the same time as liberties were being curtailed, normal people were subsisting for months on a paltry handout of a few $1,000s. Millions of dollars were being handed out like candy to rich people in the form of PPP loans and such, most of which were later forgiven. People who were suspicious of Big Pharma were treated like criminals and were mercilessly vilified by both the Biden administration and the media. People lost their livelihoods and Democrats basically spat on them. In fact, polls showed that half of Democrats supported putting the unvaccinated in concentration camps. And these are the guys who lecture you on fascism.
No one should make the American people question whether their governments will make sure that this is active on strikes. They'll be there.
Regarding leadership, I've watched with horror as President Biden has appeared at times completely out of touch, unsure, or absolutely demented. Leadership is about setting a vision, providing clear direction, and inspiring confidence. I've certainly not seen this from Biden or his administration. The public gaffes, the moments of confusion, the slurred speech, these were more than slips. They're indicative of severe mental decline. But it seems like no matter how confused and demented Biden acted, the people around him would gaslight us, saying nothing had changed. Biden was sharp as a razor, even though it was plain to see he was not. It was basically a game of who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? I guess you could say that we were looking for a commander-in-chief, but we ended up with a court jester.
Gila Indian River community, nothing wrong with me.
National security, another important topic, has shown several vulnerabilities. The mishandling of classified documents, the initial exclusion of the CIA director's role, these are not just administrative oversights. They are signs of a potentially lax approach to our security. It's like we've been playing hide and seek with our national secrets, and guess what? The bad guys are winning.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
And let's not forget the cultural divide that seems to have widened so much under this administration. There's been a push towards certain narratives that I feel have not fostered unity, but rather division. Policy should be about bringing Americans together, not driving wedges between us based on race, religion, or politics. It's like we're trying to build a bridge, but we keep using C4 instead of cement. That's no way to bring Americans together. Okay, that might bring the rednecks together.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
Perhaps one of the most infuriating moves made by Biden recently is his use of presidential pardons like they're going out of style. He's so far pardoned 8,062 people compared to Trump's 237. And the even more provoking part of that is the 37 death sentence commutations for convicted child killers and mass murderers. What the hell was he thinking? Or should I say, what were his handlers thinking? On top of that, it certainly didn't help his image that Biden swore up and down that he wouldn't pardon his son, only to turn around and do it anyway. Rules for thee and not for me. Why the hell did he promise not to do it then?
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30.
In conclusion, I believe that under this administration, we've seen a series of decisions and policies that have not just failed to elevate America, but have arguably led us down a path of decline. Our economy is strained, our borders are in disarray, our international standing is weakened, and domestically we're grappling with rising costs, crime, educational problems, and a mental health crisis response that has left much to be desired. I'm sure many more mistakes were made, but these are the ones I remember. Feel free to add the ones I forgot in the comments. Anyway, America has always been about resilience and about correcting our course when we stray. We need leadership that recognizes these issues, that listens to the people, and that acts with transparency, decisiveness, and a true commitment to the American dream. We must demand policies that reflect our core values of life, liberty, opportunity, property, and the pursuit of happiness. I urge us to look at these challenges not with despair, but with determination. Let's work together towards a future where America can once again lead with confidence, where our economy thrives, our borders are secure, our international respect is restored, and our domestic policies truly serve all citizens. Thank you for watching, and let's commit to building an America that's strong, united, and forward-looking. In short, like the saying goes, let's make America great again.